Youth Authority, taking charge of all things young people in this country, making sure that they are being shown the right way. His name is Osman Ayariga and is in studio. Council, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Had time to talk since you got this new role.
It's been a long time. Can I say I miss you?
Let's not say it so some judge doesn't hear it. Yeah.
Okay, let me say I miss 3FM.
Yes, thank you very much.
92.7.
Thank you very much.
And I miss the host.
Yeah. Good to see you, my brother.
Good to see you, my brother.
This new role of you being at the NY, I mean, we know Hassan, Osman, here communicating for party, left, right, center. And then, boom, they say, leave architecture and go and do youth work. How difficult was it for you to move?
It wasn't difficult at all because, Johnny, let me say good morning to you. Once again, good morning to the good people of Ghana, everyone listening. Good morning to the producers of your morning show and especially to 3FM 92.7. I believe this is the first time I've appeared after the NDC won the election.
That's right.
And after His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was sworn in as President of the Republic of Ghana and all the good things he's been doing. We've been trying as much as possible to implement our 120-day social contract we had with the good people of Ghana. And on that list, there are about 26 things we have to do within 120 days, which we have started in earnest. In fact, there's a committee or interministerial task force that has been put together to make sure that all these 120-day policies or promises are implemented.
Right.
So the government is seriously on track. The government is moving in the right direction. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, of course, we told Ghanaians to pick experience over experiment. So he's steering the affairs of this country with all the finesse and experience that he has. Back to your question.
Right.
Before I digress, talk about how I felt moving into the space of National Youth Authority.
Right.
I mean, it didn't come to me as a shock, or it didn't come to me as any form of difficulty, because since my days in the senior high school to university days, I've always been at the forefront of youth activism, forefront of student activism, forefront of student leadership. So I've grown within that space, and I clearly understand what really it entails to dealing with the youth. I tell people that you need to be a youth to understand the problems of the youth. And I must also commend His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for the first time actually separating the Ministry of Youth from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, meaning that for young people in this country, he knows and understands that your issues are of utmost priority and importance to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So you have a whole ministry that's going to concentrate on youth development, youth empowerment, and issues that confront and concern the youth of this country. Because if you look at the demographics, the youth constitute a very huge number, so far as the voters are concerned, as far as the citizens are concerned. And when you also look at in terms of the group that is also less privileged, it has to do with the youth. If you look at the unemployment rate, it's within the ages of 15 to 35, and that constitutes the youth. And those are the numbers where you have very high unemployment. Currently, I think we're doing over 2 million youth who are currently unemployed. And I think the number to even underemployed is even more than 2 million, meaning that you have a job, but your job is just not enough
something
to
let you get by, but it's not really something substantial.
So you have unemployed youth, you have underemployed youth. So it's refreshing to know that His Excellency actually thinks highly of the youth, and for that matter, he's put the youth ministry together. And he's also put very youthful persons from the party to steer or manage affairs of all youth-related agencies. If you look at all the youth agencies across, but you realize that he's put very young people out there to manage the affairs of all these agencies. So, I mean, being in the youth space for all this while, it just looks like it's some continuity of all the things you've been doing in opposition. All I have done was to be advocating for the youth of this country, not only my party, youth being a deputy national youth organizer. I also advocated for party youth, also advocated for the youth of this country. We tried as much as possible to punch into all the things that were happening against the youth of this country. So for me to now be at the National Youth Authority is just for me to continue the good works that we've already been doing or we're doing at the party front. And His Excellency feels that, okay, I think you've done well at the party front. Let me enlarge it for you that you can take care of all the youth of Ghana. So being at the National Youth Authority, it didn't come as a difficult job for me to do, because you've already been advocating. But of course, I have to thank His Excellency for having that trust in us to be able to implement the good things that he wants us to do, so far as the youth space and the youth front is concerned.
What do you do at the National Youth Authority? I mean, for those who are hearing for the very first time, they hear Youth and Sports Ministry. Now it's not Youth and Sports anymore. There's Youth Recreation. There's this, a couple of juggling. But what really does the National Youth Authority do?
Yeah, so the National Youth Authority has been in existence since the 70s. And its name kept changing. I think at a point it was called the Youth Forum, it became the Youth Council, and after the establishment of the Act in 2016, it now became the National Youth Authority. And clearly what its mandate has always been is to make sure it's able to instill in the youth of this country the spirit of patriotism, the spirit of civil responsibility, the spirit of being very responsible citizens. So, and also to direct policy that will positively impact on the youth. But key amongst them too is that we also are in charge of training the youth to making them very productive. So when you talk about training the youth, it's very broad. So you are responsible for training the youth, for making them unemployed youth to employable youth. Even though you have schools that do those kind of formal training, at the National Youth Authority, you also to look at the informal sector, how you can train young people to become employable, how you can train young people to actually become employers, how you can train young people to actually become entrepreneurs. So in as much as there's a formal sector of education, which you go through school, secondary school, universities, beyond that, we are also in charge of training young people. We're also supposed to be responsible, or we are responsible for nurturing our very responsible leaders in society. We're supposed to make sure young people are part of decision making, young people are part of the democratic exercise. So you realize that times past there was what we call the Youth Parliament. That is an initiative of the National Youth Authority. So the Youth Parliament liaises with the main Parliament of Ghana, so that we can have so many young people come into the fore and understand how decisions are being made. So our mandate is quite broad. We are in charge of the total development of the youth of this country. That is what we do. So you realize that in some regions we develop, or my predecessors developed what they call the youth resource centers.
That's right.
And His Excellency has promised that for the ones that have been uncompleted, they started 10 regional youth resource centers, and out of the 10 so far, only 2 have been completed. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has assured us that he will make sure we complete all the other 8 resource centers and build 6 extra resource centers in every region, so that almost every region can have a resource center. And these resource centers are to help, it's supposed to be a one-stop shop to help develop the youth of this country, whether you're also in sports and discipline, whether you want to be in leadership, whether you want to be in entrepreneurship, whether you want to learn a trade or apprenticeship, etc. You are covered under the National Youth Authority. And let me just chip in. Today we'll be forming the technical committee to do the legwork for the National Apprenticeship Program launch and its implementation. So the National Youth, so His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as part of the 120-day social contract with the good people of Ghana, promised that as part of reducing unemployment and making the youth of Ghana employable and to acquire necessary meaningful skills that are contemporary, not archaic, we're going to implement what we call the National Apprenticeship Program. That is for young people to learn a trade, young people to learn a skill, young people to learn something that can help them be on their own, that would also be in tandem or in sync with contemporary demand of skills. So we're talking about young people learning, example, photography. That is an art. So you have a master craftsman who will be training people in photography. We're talking about people learning things such as even dressmaking or fashion design. We're talking about even people learning maybe hairdressing, wig setting, etc., catering, baking, etc. So anything that has to do with acquisition of skills. And in doing that, we're going to look at the local demand and also look at the global and international demand of some skills, so that you can have young people acquire some skills that can make them independent. So that's what we brought about the National Apprenticeship Program. And that was in the NDC's manifesto. That was also in the Youth Manifesto. I remember coming here somewhere last year in August to talk about the NDC's, the launch of our Youth Manifesto during the International Youth Day.
Right.
So that was a promise that was made by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And the Youth Ministry is the ministry that will be the implementation ministry. And under the Youth Ministry, the National Youth Authority will be the implementation agency of the National Apprenticeship Program. So today the minister is going to swear us in. That is the technical committee that will do the legwork to the launching of the program and also the implementation of
and how much time does this technical committee have to finish their work and then look at the bigger implementation?
Yes, first and foremost, the first thing we have to do is look at its launching. As part of its launching, we'll have the framework. When it's going to implement it, how it's going to implement it, which phases are going to be implemented. So we already have a draft of that. But we need to now put a technical committee, speak to experts, and actually go on the ground and speak to artisans. We'll speak to artisans, we'll speak to the master craftsmen, we'll speak to the associations. So because we need to take views and contributions across the country, because you cannot want to implement a program without actually involving the stakeholders of that program.
That's right.
Otherwise, you are in for failure. We need to take their input. How is it that they have done it over the years? How have they done it over the years? How do they think for the implementation of the National Apprenticeship Program, how do they think we can fuse it into the current happenings, and how they train their artisans, and how their artisans or apprentices actually assess the training? So we'll go through all that stakeholder engagement. The launch will be done within the 120 days, after which then we'll announce when it will be implemented. So many young people can take advantage of that.
The young people are looking for jobs.
Yes.
And this is going to provide what, jobs, or is it going to be another NAPCO?
No. For this, the difference between National Apprenticeship Program and NAPCO. With NAPCO, you had government gathering people and just paying them allowances as a stopgap. Let me borrow the words of their own MPP communicators. They said they weren't jobs, but they were just stopgap. It was just a means to an end. But with the National Apprenticeship Program is to empower you to be independent, to be able to actually be an employer. So, for example, if I go to learn photography from a master craftsman or a senior photographer, within maybe the 3, 4, 5 months or even 6 months that I learn the photography, after which I should be able to have acquired a skill that will make me independent. And the same National Apprenticeship Program should be able to give you the basic tools. So at least they'll not give you the full complement of a studio that you may need. But for me to hold my small camera and my flash, to be able to now move from event to event, take pictures and earn something small for myself before I can expand. That is the difference between the apprenticeship program and the NAPCO. So the apprenticeship program is to make you independent post your training, so that by then you would have learned a skill that will make you independent to actually be able to open your own shop or actually be a master yourself and start training people. So it's not just recruiting people and giving them allowances and putting government resources to give them allowance. No, but this, we are training you so that you can be independent and you can make ends meet on your own. So that is a clear difference. So this is actually a program that we are looking at how we can train as many young people as possible, because we cannot all continue to want to push into the public space. We need to try as much as possible to put so many young people in the private sector, and it's already happening. You go to our universities as it stands now and realize that so many young people are trying to learn one trade or the other.
That's right.
I was surprised. So many young people on vacation, they tell you, especially the ladies, they tell you they want to learn how to do wigs, they want to learn how to do makeup, they want to be makeup artists, they want to learn how to do bakery, they want to learn catering. In fact, they want to learn something, because they themselves have come to the realization that you need to add a skill beyond just the formal education, because beyond just holding a brown envelope and looking for a job through your curriculum vitae, if you have a skill, that skill can actually be the means to your end, or actually be the means to making you a millionaire. And that is what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama believes, that it's better for you to have a degree and also include a skill in it. It could actually be an auxiliary way of making money beyond you working from 8 to 5, and that is what we're looking at doing for the next generation. quite apart from the National Apprenticeship Program, we're also going to have the technical committee of the Ejumera project. The Ejumera project is how to help so many startups, but that will be run by the NEIP, but it's still under the Ministry of Youth and Empowerment and Development. So I'm just telling you a few things that His Excellency within the 120 days. So I don't know whether you remember the popular phrase when people started teasing us, "Akukon kitten kitten."
Yes.
Nkukon kitten kitten, you know. Yes. So that was actually a project seeing how you can empower many young businesses and startups, because you have many young people who may want to start a business who do not actually have the kits to start it up. Right. So this is supposed to be some stimulus package to help young people to start their business up. In other countries, it's been done. They have special funds for startups, and most of these startups, they look at usually maybe fintech or agriculture. So this startup, Ejumera, is going to buy stores, agriculture, and a bit of technology, fintech.
Right.
So if you have any wonderful or beautiful proposal as a young person in a business you want to do within the agri value chain or within agribusiness, you are welcome. And when we launch the Ejumera, it will be there to help many young people. We want many young people to go into the agri space. And if you read about the next batch of billionaires that will happen to Africa, it's going to be in two spaces: either agriculture or fintech. So if the fintech train has moved, make sure you hold on to the agriculture. If agriculture has moved, make sure you hold on to fintech. So that is what we'll be doing within the next 120 days at the Youth Ministry. Also at the National Youth Authority, we'll be having what we call the Ghana Youth Fellowship, Leadership Fellowship. So just as you have the Obama Fellowship, Mandela Fellowship, you know, as part of our mandate, we are to build responsible leaders for the country. People feel that once you win an election, you're a leader. No, there's a difference between being popular and winning an election and actually being a leader for change or to impact change in society. So we'll be drawing the curricula to help train young people. And that is why in the West, you see people in the West, so many organizations invest so much to building young leaders, because they know that if you don't get the foundations right, you're going to have leaders of tomorrow who would steer the affairs of the country in the wrong direction, and the citizens will not be happy. So we'll be training so many young people. And when you talk about training young leaders, it doesn't mean that you must be in a university or no. Someone is a local champion. He hasn't been to school. He's at the lorry station, but he commands so much respect and authority. He is a leader. You need to train him as to how he can use that to impact the space where he finds himself. How is he going to use his influence to make demands positively with government to impact his people? How is he going to use that leadership skill or that talent,
transformational leadership,
to be transformational? So these are some of the things we'll be doing at the National Youth Authority.
So you're giving back, or you're giving a lot to the young people, at least per the plans you have, even though it's early days yet for us to say, you know, we're rating what you have done versus what you didn't do and what you promised. But there's also the conversation about patriotism. And trying to raise young people who are passionate, burning with passion about the nation called Ghana and how to help it survive and thrive. What's your plan?
Yes, so we're supposed to have the patriotic lectures. But you see, Johnny, to make someone be patriotic towards his nation, it moves beyond just having a lecture or a talk shop.
That's correct.
You understand? Now, people love something, are patriotic towards something based on what they seek or what they see to benefit from it. One, all these things that we are doing at the end of the day is to make young people patriotic towards their country. Because one, if you didn't have a skill and your country has trained you and given you a skill free of charge, at the end of the day, if I come to speak to you about loving your country, you will see good reason why you should love your country. We love our parents because we know that they have brought us into this world and they have taken care of us. So automatically you need to reciprocate that love. People cannot love their countries when they don't see what the country has done for them, directly or indirectly. And all they see is the perception that people are just being corrupt. So for people to be patriotic, it moves beyond just the lectures. So everything we do is moving towards making young people patriotic towards their country. So at the end of the day, if someone is unemployed and you come tell the person to love his country, excuse me to say, it's noise in the person's ears. But if you have trained so many young people, unemployment rate is going down. People know that there's a future in this country for them, and you start preaching about patriotism, then they will understand what you say and they will love what you say. I think we were supposed to have a program with one of your hosts. How can I forget?
Alfred.
Not Alfred.
Black Rasta.
Black Rasta.
Yeah.
For the name was confusing, Black Rasta and Black Sheriff. And I didn't want to mention it wrong. Yes, Black Rasta, yes. So we're supposed to have a program with Black Rasta on some patriotic lectures in Wa,
right,
and also in Accra.
Right.
I think due to the Ramadan, he postponed the Wa one, and I think we will do the Accra one. Yes, so these are some of the things we will engage in. And so for National Youth Authority, it's not enough to say that National Youth Authority alone is supposed to do all the projects and all the programs. Our act also permits us to go out and partner with people. So just last week we were at IS, International Youth Empowerment Series by Pastor Brian.
Right.
That was also a program we also partner with them. We are going to further host bigger programs with them. So beyond just the Accra one, we are looking at how we can also move them to Kumasi and other regions for us to have some impactful lectures on young people. All these lectures are supposed to empower young people and make them patriotic towards their country. So it's not just for NY. Anybody who has a proposal or a program, you come, we'll partner with you, because it is our work to do to empower young people to make them patriotic. But it's also part of our mandate to partner with even private sector who are already in the space or who are doing, or who we think can help us in that regard. That is why even government partners sometimes with private sector to build a nation. So it's also part of our responsibility to partner with private sector. Because if somebody is already doing it and is doing it well, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to partner with that person and do it well. So we're partnering with Black Rasta, and he had a very beautiful program. I think it has to do with some patriotic lectures.
Kuchoko vibes.
Yes, it has to do with some patriotic lectures.
That's
I think it's supposed to be somewhere in the last, he said, Labadio.
Yes. It was on the 8th of March.
8th of March,
8th
yes.
of March, yes.
So we're looking at such program. I told them that we needed to go beyond just having the show there, and we need to go to the secondary schools, we need to go to the universities and have such patriotic lectures with them. And people like them, they are huge figures. They are public figures.
That's right.
They are influencers. They are celebrities. So when you go around with them in secondary schools, in universities, young people will be able to be attracted to what they say, and they can buy into you preaching patriotism to them. So there's a lot we'll be doing, and of course influencers like you will need you on board to help us to be able to achieve most of these things, because people see you, people love you. When they see you on their campuses, when they see you in their schools, they will listen to what you're saying. When you tell them that you need to love your country because this is the only place we have, they will understand and be able to associate with you. So we will need your help also.
These things you talk about, very brilliant ideas. Is there a blueprint for them, or is just Osman Ayariga and his team's ideas? When they leave power, we have to start all over again. Is there a blueprint?
No, there's a blueprint for them.
A document that we can hold and say, this is what we are referring to.
Yes, there's a
the National Youth Plan.
There's a National Youth Policy, and that includes everything that we're talking about. So it's not just, even though some maybe how you go about its implementation, maybe Osman Ayariga Esq plan.
Okay.
But if you look at the National Youth Policy 2023 to 2032, it tells you all the things that we have to do to be able to empower the youth of this country. And it's all stated in there. And if you look at the Act, the National Youth Authority Act, it tells you that you need to do all these things. So the fact that maybe our predecessors, my predecessors, didn't do some of them, doesn't mean that we shouldn't start. And once we start to, we need to make sure that there's continuity so that it doesn't look like it's just Osman Ayariga. So that's why we are very bent on making sure we implement most of them. We actually make them statutory, that on this day this should happen, on this day this should happen. So for example, my predecessors, as part of the act, we're supposed to be organizing what we call the annual youth conference. My predecessors had their annual youth conference, I think, Pius did one in Anakazo. He did one in was it Pentecost? The one
at the Millennium City.
Millennium City, yes. He did one there. So I think so far they've done about 2 or 3. And they used to do what they call the National Youth Conference, which is a day or 2. So we are looking at moving beyond the National Youth Conference, actually calling it a National Youth Festival, where you can have a whole week celebration, and there's a whole week, there's lecture series, there's entertainment, there's cultural display, so many things. So you realize that it's already there, but we are now coming to make it better. So the next person who would come, because of maybe the standards we've already set, will also be forced. If you can't keep up to the standard, try and make it better than what we or Osman has done. So, I mean, everything that has been done is for us to better it. And everything that we will do, we hope that one day when our successors also come to, they can also make it better, actually make it better.
There's money, which would have to push all these brilliant ideas.
Absolutely.
But our country is broke. So where are you going to get the money from to do what you are thinking?
First and foremost, thanks to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, there's been 300 million cedis that have been allocated to the National Apprenticeship Program.
Right.
So it's covered. And again, initially there was the Capping Act that capped most of the statutory funds that were allocated to most of the government agencies.
Right.
So there's going to be the uncapping, capping act. So that again to give us some breathing space to be able to implement most of these projects. The other source to which the act allows us to is to engage donor funding so that they can also fund most of these projects. There's a project we are working on which is youth peace security. Youth peace and security. We're currently doing it with UNFDP, doing it with GIZ, we're doing it with Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Center. So most of them also bring most of their funding to help us. And this is to look at youth peace and security, especially in the informal sector. But we're also looking at how we can move it into the formal sector, i.e. our secondary schools, because you would agree with me, the current influx of some violence in our various secondary schools. How secondary schools have not resorted to dialogue, how they've not resorted to arbitration, they've not resorted to any form of understanding, and all they see is violence. So it's part of our mandate to make sure we build very responsible youth. So we'll be going down to secondary schools to have lectures on youth peace security, why there's the need for us to judge with school authorities, why there's the need for us to make sure our youth leaders, in our school leaders, actually push our agenda, because these are the young people that will come out of school and be come out of school and be in our various offices. If in the various secondary schools the only language they understand is violence to resolve their issues, when they become leaders of tomorrow, the only language they will understand again is what? It's the same violence. So we need to stop it there. So, I mean, I was just talking about how we'll fund most of our projects. I'm telling you that there are some agencies or some development partners globally who are interested in some of the programs that you will draw. So most of them are interested because it's actually in sync with their mandate and why they were created and why they are actually operating. So it is also part of our responsibility to go out there, pitch the ideas with all these development partners and see how they can help us in funding most of these projects.
For me, responsible youth will also be hinged on the quality of education that they get. In the past few years, we've made a lot of noise about free SHS. We also get an indication from your government that you're doing, for example, something for the folks in the tertiary institutions first year, and then you're doing for persons living with disability, etc. I'm concerned about the basic school. Catch them young, they say. How are you catching them young? Tell me.
It's very huge. When you look at the educational ladder, you realize that even from the basic school all the way to junior high school, there hasn't really been so much, I don't want to use turmoil, there hasn't really been so many issues as compared to the secondary schools and the universities. And key amongst them is about the fact that if you look at the figures, there are so many, because of the influx or the inclusion of private sector in the basic education. You realize that there are so many basic schools that are actually private than we have secondary schools that are actually private. So government in its way is to monitor and regulate most of the curricula and the syllabus that are being taught at the basic schools. And that's why, if you remember, at a point in time there was an issue about some curricula that people didn't really want to be in the system.
Comprehensive sexuality education.
Example. So these are some of the things that we're looking at. It's not just about sinking resources in terms of money. You don't throw money at every problem. Not every problem actually needs money to be resolved. For you to teach young people to be aware of themselves and to understand the country, it also includes the kind of syllabus that is put in the basic school all the way to the junior high school. So yes, resources is a problem, but for me, within the basic and the junior high school, is the syllabus that matters so much in that area, because that is the building stage. And that is why you actually have to teach people that you need to love your country. This is what Kwame Nkrumah did for your country. This is what Hillary Liman did for your country. This is what Jerry John Rawlings did for your country. This is what Kufuor did for your country. This is what Akufo-Addo, this is what John Mahama, this is what His Excellency Evans Atta Mills did for your country. And these are what young people are supposed to aspire to be. So if you teach young people how to love and understand and to cherish their country, they grow up with that sense of patriotism. You don't wait until the exit point before you start teaching them about patriotism. So these are things we will all be looking at. And in fact, as part of the National Youth Policy Plan, it's also in there. They were supposed to contribute to the education syllabus to make young people love their country. Not only education syllabus, any form of syllabus. In fact, in other offices, we're supposed to have youth decks that will make sure that most of the people that have been employed are more youthful than any other section. So it's all in the National Youth Policy. And if you look at it and read the whole document, you see that at the end of the day, this is going to be a whole encapsulation of youth empowerment.
Boy Scouts movement, Girls Guide, Boys and Girls Brigade, Red Cross, and all those societies. How are you connecting with them? Because they already have people who are there, but how are you connecting to achieve your aim?
I nearly forgot a very important task that we're supposed to implement, and this started so many years ago. So as part of the mandate of the Youth Authority, we're supposed to set up what we call the Ghana Youth Federation. And the Ghana Youth Federation is supposed to be an umbrella body of all these groups that you've mentioned. National Union of Ghana Students, Ghana Union of Professional Students, Ghana Association of Young Traders, Ghana Association of Young Entrepreneurs, National Cadet Corps, National Boy Scouts, Girl Guide. So we're supposed to put together what we call the Youth Federation. And they're supposed to come together and elect their president. So that would be like a youth president who now liaise with government on the demands of the youth. Because you, as the National Youth Authority boss, you are seen as a liaison between government and the youth. So the youth themselves, instead of dealing with them in piecemeal, you need to put them together so that you can be able to deal with them as a block. So currently, there's also, I launched the technical committee was there before I came. I was a member of the technical committee when I was in NDC. Yeah, so now being the CEO, I reconsidered the technical committee. As you're saying, Girl Guide is on it. Boy Scouts, it's on it.
Boys MPP and Girls Brigade,
NDC is on it. PNC, ACP, Ghana Association of Young Entrepreneurs is a technical committee, and they've brought their roadmap and how they think that the Ghana Youth Federation should be formed. So I'm still studying the document. They brought their proposed constitution. We're supposed to zero it down, make a few changes. Then, so as part of it, we're looking at launching it on the International Youth Day, which will be in August. But before that, we'll have what we call interim executives to see how we can go around the country, put it together, get them to elect a leader. So on the 12th of August, we can launch the first president of the Ghana Youth Federation.
People often confuse your organization with YEA, National Youth Authority with YEA. What's the difference between the two of you? Because they're providing jobs?
Yes.
But you also spoke about jobs.
Yes.
So people often confuse. Can you settle that confusion for us?
Yes, I've always had that question over and over again, and of course I try to explain it very well over and over again. So you see, the National Youth Authority, it's more towards training young people, giving them a skill, and also making them employable or making them employers. the Youth Employment Agency is supposed to be an agency that will look strictly mostly so far as employment is concerned, and that is why they have maybe example a job center to be able to connect unemployed people to companies that are looking for jobs.
Right.
So theirs is to look at the recruitment of youth, look at how they can get jobs for the youth, go out there and look for jobs for the youth. So you're supposed to come to this agency, ask TV3, do you need any space to fill? We have this database that we can give you jobs. So theirs is to look at the employment, ours is to look at the training and also acquisition of skills to make you employable or even make you unemployed. Right. So that is strictly the difference.
What do you think about the national debate competition of a sort for schools and students in order to whip up their interest in being patriotic, for example? What do you think about that?
Perfect. It's a perfect idea. I think in school, well, back in school, there used to be I think in secondary school, there used to be the debate.
That's right.
To come all the way from
the prelims all the way to the top to the national.
Yes, and we need to really look at that because you have national science and math quiz taking the center stage for students in science, but we don't really look at students in arts, how we can actually whip up that enthusiasm. So it's something we would look into.
My guest in studio is Osman Ayariga. He's the CEO of the National Youth Authority, and I'm sure you have some thoughts and questions on your mind. Maybe we'll activate the phone lines in a bit so that you get a chance to also, as young people of this country, ask questions of the CEO in studio here. But let's go back again to the technical committee that will be launched today. You mentioned about the National Apprenticeship Program. Somebody's just sent a message and asking questions about the feasibility of that thing. It says it sounds too good to be true. And that the feasibility, so who qualifies to join, and how long are they going to be trained for, and after the training, what's next? You have mentioned, but maybe you rehash that again. Who qualifies to join?
Yes, thank you very much. For the feasibility, once you're a Ghanaian and you want to learn a trade, we would set up a portal. We also have offices, the National Youth Authority offices across the country, to accept forms and applications as to the trade you want to learn or the art which you want to learn. For the who qualifies, once you are within the working age by law, you are qualified to learn a trade.
Even if you are 55?
We're looking at youth.
Youth?
Yes.
What's the cutoff age?
I'm looking at youth. I think for youth in Ghana, we look at 40.
40,
yes,
right.
We are looking at youth. We are looking at how we can empower the youth.
Before grandma shows up and says, I want to be empowered too. You can't sack grandma.
First, we are looking at youth, how we can train the youth. So once you're a youth and you want to learn a trade, you are qualified. The forms will be both online and in person.
Right.
You pick your form, you fill. We look at the trade in which you want to learn. If it's within what we are going to put out within the first year, we look at how we can shortlist it, because of course we'll also be looking at it having a national appeal, so that we don't train only people in Accra, because people in Boko, people in Asaman Kese, people in Asankrigwa also need to learn a trade. And the what you'll be learning will also be incumbent on the local dynamics and the local demand, because in some areas maybe you have more people wanting to learn carpentry than you have more people wanting to learn hairdressmaking, or you have more people trying to learn how to do photography than you need more people learning how to do maybe soap making or bead making or even weaving. You go to some areas and all they want to do is to learn how to weave smocks. So if you go there and you want to teach people how to do photography, you won't have anyone who would be interested. So it's going to be based on the local demand and how we're going to roll it out. Now, it's going to be free of charge. So we're going to train we are going to have the master craftsmen who will look at their standardization, look at their competence, look at the availability of their space and how many apprentices they can take. So based on the people who apply to us, they will now distribute it based on your geographical location
Right.
to your master craftsman. And the master craftsman will teach you. So we are paying the master craftsman to teach you how to learn an art or be a master yourself. Now, when you're done, even before you start your training, you know, we usually the artisans, before you start, you need to actually give your master some tools that you yourself you're going to use to learn.
That's right.
So we'll provide those tools for you to start. When you're about exiting or when you graduate too, we'll have to give you some tools so that you can go out and set up yourself. Even if you're going to start in your room, at least you'll be doing something that will earn you a living. I think there was a question on
the implementation. That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
The cutoff age and implementation.
Yes.
Okay, let's read a few comments on Facebook, and we're live on 3FM 927 on Facebook. It said the best show is airborne in here loud and inside the Indianapolis, Kumasi, Tanoso, Kesben Junction, X the main junction from Pedrowa Maldina Cruz. Okay, thank you. Yebwa Malik says, Commander, I salute. Asuma Ishaka Jangbia says, Commander. And Awini Good Bossman says, Master, all these plenty talks, no the full basket. Give us jobs. Simple. That's what we, the youth, want. Karim Sadat Aduku says, please ask him how the youth of Boku are going to benefit from the National Youth Authority when the guns have not been hanged. That's a question. Do you want to take it? How do the youth of Boku benefit from these beautiful ideas and the plans when the guns have not been hanged? How?
Well, that's an issue of peace and security. If I get his question right,
that's right.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is doing everything possible to restore permanent and lasting peace to the good people of Boko. I don't expect us to have continuous conflict. So, of course, the good people of Boko will benefit from the National Apprenticeship Program like any other area or constituency is going to benefit. I heard somebody say that we should give them jobs.
Yeah.
That is the job we are giving you.
Not plenty.
We are giving
talk.
you a skill. It is not talk. This is practical. We are giving you a skill to have a job to do for yourself. It's not enough to want to always be employed. That I must always get a job that after every 30 days someone has to pay me. You can also create a business that you will pay someone. And that is what we're trying to imbibe in the young people of this country. That let us not always seek to be employed, but we can actually be employers. And that is why we're pushing for the National Apprenticeship Program. The last time I was having a conversation with the British High Commissioner, and she was so interested in this conversation about National Apprenticeship. She was like, example, you don't actually even have to be a hairdresser or be passionate about doing hair before you can actually open a salon. You can open a salon on your own and employ so many young people. As an entrepreneur.
And people come and work for you.
Come and work for you when you don't even know how to even put somebody's hair together. So let us not always look at the angle of the fact that we must always be employed. Example, the National Entrepreneur and Innovation Program. I'm hoping young people will take advantage of the Ejumera project. And I use your platform and medium to call on young people that this is the time for you under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Take advantage of the Ejumera program. Make sure you have a good business proposal that could shoot you to being the next millionaire. Take advantage of the National Apprenticeship Program. It is a proper platform to help you to be trained and also be a master craftsman and be a boss on your own and employ so many young people that you can train. Let us not always be interested in, I'm holding a brown envelope, I have a CV.
Right.
You can have a CV, but I'm also calling you that as young people, let us take advantage of the National Apprenticeship Program. Let us take advantage of the Ejumera project. Nkoko Kitty Kitty may sound funny, but it can or may actually be the lifeline to you becoming the next millionaire or the next billionaire in this continent. So young people, let us take advantage of all these beautiful initiatives of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Somebody's asking me, is party card going to be a prerequisite? Party card.
Just be a Ghanaian and a youth.
So there's no party card.
Just be a Ghanaian.
You just have to be a Ghanaian.
Be a Ghanaian.
And prove that you're a Ghanaian.
You're a Ghanaian.
And a
just
youth.
be a Ghanaian youth, yes.
And then you can qualify.
Just be a Ghanaian.
This is not for party
be
people.
Passionate about learning a skill. Be a Ghanaian, be a youth. Be passionate about learning a skill. For the Ejumera project, be a Ghanaian, be a youth. Have a very beautiful and wonderful proposal or business plan, and you'll be qualified.
How do we track? Because there's NEIP going to do some. I'm sure there are other initiatives that's also going to give some seed capital to people. How do we track to know that Osman Ayariga has presented a plan to, say, 3FM? Let's say that's NEIP. And then there's another wing at Onya FM. He goes to present the same plan there, collects money from there to collect from another place. Same plan because it sounded good here. Possibly it will sound good there too, and they will collect money from multiple spaces. How do we track so that we know that we are not just counting people and say we have given 10,000 people money, but we know that it's actually 10,000 individuals that we have given money to, and not 10,000 people, half of which are the same people?
Johnny, the reason why people love you is because you ask all the intelligent questions and teaching questions that confront Ghanaians. And let me give you a classical example. I'm just helping your question and I'll answer it.
Right.
Example, in the previous administration, you had YEA, Youth Employment Agency, at the Labour Ministry. You had MASLOC at the presidency. You had NEIP at the presidency.
Right.
You had National Youth Authority at Youth and Sports.
Right.
You had NAPCO also at the presidency doing other things. Now, you would have an individual, example, who is maybe politically exposed or, he knows people politically.
Right.
So the person goes to NEIP, takes, say, 100,000 cedis. NEIP records that same Mr. A that we've given him a job. That's one person. The person goes to YEA again, and maybe gets himself recruited for one of their models.
Right.
YEA also records him as one. We've given him a job. He goes to MASLOC. He's able to get another funding there. Master records him again as one.
So that's him 3 people.
That's 3 people.
But in essence, it's just one person.
It's just one person.
Right.
Master counts him as one. Then say he comes to NYA. We train him through some of the programs. He's also counted as one. At the end of the day, government says, we have created 4 jobs.
But there's only one person really
that we have created. So that is why His Excellency this time around says that to reduce duplicity of activities or roles, let's put all of them under one ministry. All the youth-related jobs or the youth agencies that are creating jobs, let's put them under one. And the minister has said that we're going to create a dashboard and have the database. So that you don't have one person going to NEIP, take money, come to NYA, he's trained, he goes to YEA, he takes another opportunity there, he goes to MASLOC, he takes another opportunity. So that we know that, even if this person needs to go through the 3 agencies, maybe he's trained at NYA, his money may come from NEIP. So that person is still counted as one. So when NYA is training you, we don't give you the money for startup. We just train you and we hand you over to NEIP. And we know that we have Mr. A in our dashboard. He has been trained. He has been handed over to NEIP. So we've created 1 job.
Right.
And not 2. And that is why sometimes you see government say, we've created 3 million jobs. Yet you can't find the 3 million jobs. Because there's intersection and duplicity of roles. So we're going to have a dashboard where we know that Mr. A has been trained here, and for that matter, Mr. A has been given a job under this agency. And at the end of the day, we'll have a proper monitoring, evaluation, and a display of our beneficiaries, display of the people we have trained, so that you don't see the names running through 3 or 4 programs. Because one person, you cannot be trained under 4 or 5
modules
different
at the same
modules.
time.
You cannot go to MASLOC and take a loan, come to NEIP and take a grant, and maybe go to Women's Development Bank again and take another money. And if at the end of the day, they are all going to count you as 1, 1, 1, 1, they'll say that government has created 3 jobs. When in actual fact, government has just created one job. So that is what you're going to do.
So your dashboard will solve this problem.
The dashboard and the monitoring and evaluation will solve that problem so that we don't have duplicity of rules. Maybe somebody may have to go through 2-3 different agencies for training purposes. But when it comes to the final person who will give him the job, we'll know which agency will give him the job and we'll know how we'll count it as well. Because you cannot deceive yourself so far as job creation is concerned. Because you cannot keep inflating numbers and figures when at the end of the day the youth on the street still know that they are unemployed. And that's what was happening in the previous government. At the end of the day, the government said they created about 2.3 million jobs.
That's right.
And we said that if you really created 2.3 million jobs, because when you took over government based on the growth rates, the population growth rate, and based on the jobs you said you created, then we shouldn't even have unemployed youth. By the end of the day, we still had 1.9 million unemployed youth. So it's not enough to just, throw out figures. It's better to know that we have created 10 jobs that will impact society than to say we've created 100 jobs when you and I know that we've actually not created 100 jobs.
Let's activate the phone lines so we can hear from the young people of this country. 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. My guest is lawyer Osman Ayariga. He's the CEO of the National Youth Authority, and he's here. You have questions, I'm sure, as a young person on your mind. You share with me your thoughts and comments, and we can go through it. 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. We have a first caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. How are you, Chairman?
I'm okay.
Great. What's your name and location, please?
My name is Felix, and I'm calling from East Legon.
Felix from East Legon. Talk to me. What's on your mind? What's your question to the CEO?
I just want to ask him the date on which the program is going to commence.
The date when the apprenticeship program is going to commence?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much. There you have it. So, Council, when is the apprenticeship program going to commence?
I won't want to put a tentative date on when it will commence. But what I can tell you is that between now and May, which falls within the 120-day, we will launch it.
Okay.
Now, after the launching, we'll announce the day on which we'll commence the first batch of training.
Okay.
Because it's not an event, it's a process.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
So it will be done in phases.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Odewale.
Thank you so much.
Are you also youthful?
Oh, of course, yes. I'm still a youth.
Okay. Let's hear your question.
Well, my question is, we have the technical institutions and vocational and technical institutions.
Right.
I want to know from the few if they can lace through them than rather creating another new entity, because already they have if they have the space, they have the machines, and even those machines which are no more of use, maybe if they can change it so that they will pass through this technical and vocational rather than creating new places of training.
Okay.
Thank you.
I hear you. Thank you very much. Good morning. Oh, sorry. Please call us 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, I want to find out, can the drivers also take part?
Can the drivers also take part in the apprenticeship program?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Council, please note the question. Sorry about that. Odewale's question was about going through the technical schools and the universities. What do you say to that?
Yes, so it's true. Currently, we have the CT vet, right? But you see, even under apprenticeship, we have what we call formal and informal apprenticeship. Formal apprenticeship.
Let's pick these calls before they go away. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Johnny.
Yes, boss. Chairman, how are you?
Grace.
What's your name, please?
Johnny, please, I'm Bill from Tema.
Okay, talk to me, Bill.
This issue has been bothering me since last 3 weeks. I called you about the death of a student in a school in the Volta region, which has led to the students, all of them, they were laid off to go back home. Up to now, they don't know when they are going back to school.
Has the matter been reported to the police? Because this is a police matter.
Yes, and they are not ready to pick up anyone's call. They want to hide the matter under the carpet like that.
Oh, once it's with the police, they cannot hide it. I'm not sure.
But Johnny, up to now, students who were supposed to be vacating this month on the 5th, rather, have vacated 18th of February. Can you imagine? And the children are at home. My children are also involved.
I see. Okay, we'll look at it. We'll take a look at it. But thank you very much for calling us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Johnny, good morning.
Yes, boss. Chairman, what's your name and location, please?
I'm David calling from Adenta.
Talk to me, Dave.
Yeah, I want to find out from my man there that how do some of us, I own a fashion training center. How do we get involved? And is there going to be a program where they are going to train the trainees trainers?
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Morning, Johnny.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, my brother. How are you too?
By God's grace, I'm
great. Your name and location.
The young man is there. Then I just want to use this opportunity to appeal to them that we've never seen in this country, for me, with my age getting to 50, I've never seen any president that has recruited digital generation into political positions like John Mahama did this year. So all I want to say is that they should make sure they don't disappoint him. I'm beginning to admire some of them, like some regional ministers from Georgia and Akujato and the rest. So they should just make sure they do things right, because we've complained, these old people. Now, 80% of John Mahama appointment has been given to them, digital world, AI world. They should make sure they don't disappoint us.
Okay.
So, Johnny, last one.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to the recruitment, why can't we, now that they are in position, they are in control now, why can't we do it this way? The government is recruiting young people from immigration, the security agencies. Why can't they coordinate it through a portal so that to avoid this thing of the rich get space for their children to get recruited and the poor people like my people sit in the house and they don't have help. You see, so if there can be a portal, all the security agencies, National Fire Service, Immigration, Police, if you are recruiting, apply through the Youth Authority so that you coordinate it. They coordinate it to avoid this paying of money. You know, last year and all these years, we've been hearing people even paying over 30,000 to get recruited as a police officer. So what are they? They should think about it and coordinate it so that to be well, if it is even regional balance, each region give the number. Let's say you're recruiting 10,000 police. Share it around the 16 regions.
Thank
so
you.
That we apply.
Your point is made. Grateful. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Johnny, good morning.
Yes, boss.
My name is Anthony Atiku. I'm calling from Sema.
Okay.
Yeah, please, I'm so interested on the program, but I want to know, he mentioned some towns in Ashanti, in Tamale, North, and about voter region.
Okay. You're asking if the voter region is involved. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Hello, Johnny.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Johnny, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Great.
May God bless you.
Bless you too. What's your name, sir?
I'm Raphael.
Raphael calling us from?
I'm calling from Accra.
Okay. Talk to us, Ralph.
Johnny, we have a problem with these nurses at some hospitals. Hello?
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about youth employment. So I'm lost. Forgive me.
Oh.
But okay. You have to raise.
Then I'll call you later.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Council, back to you. Is the voter region included?
Oh, everywhere is included.
Because you said you mentioned places, but you didn't mention his region.
I couldn't have mentioned almost every town in Ghana. And if you observe, I cut across, I say, Boko, Asankrigwa. Boko is in the north, Asankrigwa is in the far west. So I'm trying to tell that it cuts across. So my brother, the fact that I didn't mention, voter region is included.
and then the conversation about
so there was a conversation about CTVET.
Right.
Then we'll come to the recruitment.
Right.
Yeah, so there's something we call formal apprenticeship and informal apprenticeship.
Right.
Currently, TVET is doing what they call the formal apprenticeship, where they put people in a classroom and actually learn. They don't do informal apprenticeship. Right. So we are come to take up the space of the informal apprenticeship, where we deal with the artisans on the market and artisans in the market. So the person is actually learning within the space of his master craftsman.
And then there's also a question about training the trainer.
Yes, so there will be workshops on that to also look at standardization. Who actually would qualify to be a trainer? What are we looking for? What should be your space requirement? How many people can you train? What kind of training have you gone through? Are you qualified to be
train somebody else?
To train somebody else. So we're looking at all those. So we're looking at standardizations, and that's where we'll also invite TVET in to look at the standardization, because they are the institution mandated to look at standardizations. So there's going to be training of trainers. There's going to be picking of trainers. There will also be who qualifies to be a trainer, and we'll have to come and audit your space, audit what you do to make sure you actually qualify to be a trainer, so that we don't pay you saying that you are training 10 people when in actual fact it's just one person you are training, and that will be a loss to the state. So this is a whole comprehensive thing we're doing. Yes.
What about those who have their shops? They have apprentices already. Can they join and block? What's your plan for them?
Yes, those who have shops and they have apprentices already, that is something we'll look at, because apprenticeship, some take about 2 years, some take about 1 year to train. So we'll have to look at one, if that shop falls within the shops that are qualified to train. We look at how many people are already in your training, and how many can we take care of. How long will it take for them to exit? Because if someone is left with 2-3 months to exit, in actual fact the person has already paid. Because people pay before they learn. So if the person is left with maybe a year to complete, and maybe the person paid 1 year and left another year, then we can take up that space. But most people, before they even start, they have already paid upfront before they start. Unless people are beginning to start, then there should be a refund to those who have already paid. And I don't think that's why we are looking at the project being progressive and not retrogressive in terms of its implementation.
Oh, sorry about that. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Sorry for holding you on. What's your name, sir?
I'm calling for Chikrum in the Eastern region, district.
You are who, please?
David.
David, okay. Talk to me, David. What's your question?
Yeah, my question is, like, we the people in the rural areas, where are we seeing the proposal, the business proposals? And secondly, how is someone who wants to train apply, like, who have the facility to train other youth?
Okay. I think you just answered that second part of the question, but the first one applies. Those who are in the rural areas, council, where do they submit their proposals? Hold that question for me. Good morning.
Hi, Johnny. Good morning.
Julie, how are you?
I'm great.
Great. Talk to me.
Yeah, I think this youth support initiative is a good thing. But what is important is has to do with inflation and then prices of goods at the market. At the end of the day, if you train the individual, no nyansa no jumewi na okọ jomna so okoto nyama so or the business, because the price of goods near there cost all the time. At the end of the day, their businesses cannot survive. So they should deal with that. The president has to do something about inflation and then the cost of goods and products at the market. Otherwise, at the end of the day, this youth support initiative, it will be in vain. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Johnny. How are you doing?
I'm fine. What's your name, sir?
Johnny, I'm Ben. I'm calling from Amasaman.
Yes, sir. Talk to me, Chairman.
Yeah. John, I'm sorry to ask. I just bumped in. Has it got to do with what Malik Basintari and Dr. Rashid Elko had yesterday, or it's another thing?
No, this is the National Youth Authority. So they are bringing up the National Youth Apprenticeship Program and some others, training people and then equipping them with tools so that they can also start and then expand and subsequently employ people.
Fine. So, Johnny, I
Yes,
think,
sir.
I don't know if you remember, the last time I spoke to you, I told you I was investing with Enterprise, that's my tier 2, and then I'm not active at work now.
Right.
And when I went there, they tell me I have to be 55 before I can get access to my money. Yes, I know something. Me, I'm a heavy duty welder. Okay, I'm 45. So, as I talk to you now, I don't work. I've been at home, kind of stuff for the past 7 years.
Whoa.
With no job outside. Yeah. I used to work with Takwa Goldfields. Went on redundancy 2018.
And then somewhere 2019, 2020, I got this offshore job on FPSO Kwame Nkrumah. And since then, 2020, it went in by you. So issues like this, those of us are we are heading away from, or we are moving away from our work age, What is in store for us?
Okay.
Then it's
a good question. Thank you very much. Yeah. Council, please note that those who are going out of your league, but they have not worked for a while, what's in store for them? Oh, sorry about that. Quickly, somebody asked a question about those in the rural areas. Where do they take their proposals? He's obviously worried.
Yeah, so we'll be having various secretariats. And we'll have persons to represent and also take the proposal. So we'll be looking, those who cannot submit it online, we'll be looking at the various municipal assemblies or the district assemblies. There'll be a desk at the National Youth Authority or a desk for the NEIP for the collection of proposals. So there's going to be, we're going to make it available at every district level, at least at the district level. If you cannot submit it online and you want to go and submit it physically at the district level, you should be able to submit that at the district level.
Good morning.
Good morning, now.
Yes, sir. Senior Pian, how are you?
Oh, I'm good.
Great. Talk to me.
I'm also still a youth as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, till like that. Johnny, I went to a technical school after my common.
Senior, we can't hear you. You have to speak up a bit for me.
Oh, I said I went to a technical school.
Right.
Yes, when I completed my common entrance examination at Kanisi Secondary Technical. From there, I went to junior year. Yes, and it really helped me so now, even at my age. But in our times, when you go to technical schools, it's like those who go to the secondary school who will have to pay Makraka, it just look down for even when you go to Ntako. But today, we are realizing that we need technical people in our midst. Johnny, please, a short one. Could you advise? I want to advise. The youth that I have, we are now producing electric bike. Can they encourage these youth to use the electric bike for deliveries?
Okay, all right.
Since we are sitting down doing nothing.
Okay.
Johnny, thank you so much.
I hear you. Thank you. Electric bikes for delivery for the youth. Sorry about that. Okay, let's start with that. Electric bikes for young people to do deliveries with. Is that part of your plan?
Yeah, but that's not under the apprenticeship program. That's under the
another
Okada.
module. Okay.
That's under the Okada program. If you remember, His Excellency said that the Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Interior would be implementing the Youth in Okada business. So then again, National Youth Authority, we're putting together the business models for the Okada business. So that it's not enough to say that we are just going to buy motorbikes, we are going to guarantee for people to get to motorbikes. We're drawing the business plan so that beyond just owning a motorbike, you can create a whole value chain or business empire around it. And that we're looking at strictly EV, electronic bikes. We're not looking at the combustible petrol bikes. We're looking at electronic bikes because we need to also look at the environmental degradation and how to protect the
There's one question outstanding that you have about those who are out of your league, but let's pick this call. Good morning.
Good morning, Hughes.
Hey, Uria, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Greater than Accra. Talk to me.
Right.
What's your question?
Johnny, I believe all these brilliant ideas that Councillor shared with us have been left in the hands of the schools. Because you mentioned cadets. If I go through the cadet at SS and go through the cadet at university, I believe if the Ghana Armed Forces would like to, put me on, they wouldn't struggle. They would just have to put a few touches, on what I've acquired from, previous years. And I'll be able to fit it.
Right.
The question is, how well can an agency, train somebody this apprenticeship program? How well can they train somebody in 3 months to be better than somebody who has been from the basis from primary to SS? Because I've watched a documentary on how Chinese are trying to train the next Olympic, athletes already from scratch. That is what we are talking about. It's a brilliant idea, but I believe the catch them young policy that you spoke about can be well implemented when we start from, the basis, the zero, like the Bible says, build up the child from, infancy. We don't like this, middle building thing. Like you bring yourself up to the middle, and government will support you. Please, some of us, everything that you are saying, that is what we need. For me, I have the skill. I went to the uni, I read marketing, came out, used my God-given talent to create business for myself.
On 3FM,
so we are pleading. If they have the resource should be given to the schools. The spot. Let the child know what they want to do, whether cadet, whether carpenter, whether mason. Start from zero. When they grow, it's nothing like somebody holding them and polishing them from the middle. Straight, they'll be able to fit in. If
Thank
anything,
you
they have
very
to
much.
reach to upgrade themselves.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, boss.
Please, I'm Kobe. I'm calling from Tema.
Okay, Kobe from Tema. What do you have to say?
Yes, I have a wood workshop.
Okay.
With some few machines, and how do I get involved as far as training of youth? The youth is concerned.
Okay.
And where is their location in Accra? Their office.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Kobe wants to know. He has a wood workshop. He wants to know how he'll get involved and where your offices are. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, boss.
Yeah, my name is Eugene calling from Kaswa.
Okay, Eugene from Kaswa, talk to me.
Yeah, please, I want to ask the CEO whether we, those who are the artisans already and we need support, can we also apply for any support so that we can bring out the goods and services to the market and then maybe improve in our the artisans' work.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, it does appear that there are a lot more artisans who already positioned who want to plug in, but they also want to help you to train.
Yeah, that's why I said that everyone should take advantage of the National Apprenticeship Program. And we'll soon be announcing phone numbers, portals to which you can register, and even physical offices where you can take your proposal. But for now, all the physical offices you can take your proposals to is the National Youth Authority office found at the various districts, at the regional offices, and also at the national office. You can bring it to the national office at the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex in Accra.
That's another story. Azuma
for
Nelson
another day. Another story for another day.
I remember that place as a boy.
Very well.
Volleyball,
basketball, swimming pool, Olympic size swimming pool, tennis courts.
Yes, I remember that place. How we turned it into a baller.
It's a forest now. I have for reptiles.
And the resource center there is not completed.
Nothing is completed. But we're still hoping His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as he says, he will help us to complete it. So it's one of the things that he really wants to push through. So you can bring your proposals to any of our offices at the National Youth Authority offices, at the district level, regional level, and at the national level. We'll also open up the online portal to anyone who wants to send us information. We'll also be giving numbers out for anyone who wants to send any WhatsApp information to us. Anybody wants to send a text message, just communicate with us and we would respond appropriately.
There's a gentleman who called us from Amasaman. He's 45. He's an industrial welder. But he has not worked in 7 years and clearly has experience. But he's asking, so what's in it for him?
Yeah, for someone who is an industrial welder who has experience, he's worked for some number of years, he should be qualified as a trainer. So he should also explore the opportunity of being a trainer to train people in welding. If he doesn't have a shop or he doesn't have a space, we can still go into some agreement with him so that he can also be a trainer. So he should be part of our training of trainers.
Right.
So he can also train someone. So there's space for everybody, whether they're young or they're old. If you are old, you should be looking at actually
imparting knowledge.
Yes, imparting knowledge. If you are young, you should look at learning the knowledge or acquiring knowledge.
Okay, well, I guess we have to start packing our bags and go because 3FM Gobe Festival, which is happening on Saturday, got some vendors on the touchline waiting. Council, thank you very much for attending upon us. Your closing thoughts. What do you leave us with?
Well, I leave the youth of this country with one thing, and I'll state it time without number. Now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is here for the youth of this country. And for persons like us, the advice we have for young people is that take advantage of all the youth initiatives or all the youth policies that would create jobs. National Apprenticeship Program, I entreat the youth of this country to take advantage of the National Apprenticeship Program. Ejumeriwa projects, I entreat and encourage the young people of this country, take advantage of the Ejumeriwa project. And to the NEIP, National Entrepreneur and Innovation Program, I call on the young people people to take advantage of all these programs. This is the way to alleviate poverty and to reduce youth unemployment. We need to create the next industrial giants. We need to create the next youth entrepreneurs. We need to create the next youth millionaires. And the only way to do that is through training, through entrepreneurship, and through building a business. So I'm calling the young people, take advantage of the space. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is here for the young people of this country. Thank you so much,
Thank
Johnny.
you.
Thank you so much for your time. And I'm greater than Accra.
Those are my words.
Please, yes, I'll reference you. I've borrowed it from now. Anywhere I go, I'll tell them, like my good friend Johnny says, I'm greater than Accra.
Osman Ayariga is a lawyer, is an architect, is also the CEO of the Youth National Youth Authority, and he joined us here this morning. I'm sure that you had the answers that you've been called.